Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, Justin Matson.
Hey, good to be here.
Happy to have you, man.
Yeah.
I'm not happy to be talking about this movie with you, though.
Yeah, it's a terrible movie.
You picked a really, really, it's a real I didn't realize how bad this movie was until you picked it. It's The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan's adaptation of the hit Nickelodeon series.
Yeah. It's I feel like this is almost a layup. Like it's so bad. Like no one liked it that it's like a little easy to criticize.
Right.
But I feel like I have a personal attachment to it because like I was a M. Night Shyamalan fan like from the beginning, and
Okay.
I stuck with him for years, even when all the signs were there. It was like an abusive
All the
relationship.
signs were there. I see what you
Yeah,
did.
and I was just like, no, like he's good to me sometimes. And, like you got to get out of there.
Right.
And no, I was like,
He hits me because he loves me.
Yeah. Like Lady in the Water, it was just him. He was having a moment,
Right.
And it's gonna get better. And then when this came out, I was like, I can't. Yeah, now I gotta like packed my bags and just got out.
It's interesting because I remember, so we were talking about what movie you wanted to do, and you sent me quite a list. And
Yes.
this one was at the top of your list, and I wasn't sure whether you're going to approach it as a Shyamalan fan or a fan of the television show.
Both.
So you're a fan of the TV show as well?
I mean, I haven't seen everything, but I watched like the first like 5 episodes like before I had seen this movie.
Gotcha.
And I liked the show. I'm a grown man, and I don't really watch a lot of cartoons. But I felt like it was a good show. Like it definitely has cool elements. It's stylized. It's like a good series to follow. I actually, like prepping for this, I watched like a recent episode, from 2008 or whatever.
Right, yeah,
but,
when it was last on.
Yeah, but it holds. Like the animated show like still holds up. Like it's like the show is like it's like surprisingly dark. They people die in it, and there's like stakes, and like the characters are really well defined, and it's kind of a cool fantasy world. It's like very pretty to look at, and yeah, I feel like it could have made a great movie. And I guess they're gonna make a
they're making a live action show of it now on Netflix, and it's done by the original creators. And I think that there's a lot of things that very clearly went wrong in this movie.
Yes,
I think first big problem with this movie is that as far as the script goes and the direction of the movie goes, there was no involvement from the two guys who created the actual television series of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, that's usually a bad sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it if it's a movie like The Fugitive or something that's so old that you're bringing back a property, but these guys are still alive. These guys are still making television.
And this movie came out like kind of in the heyday of the series. Like the series, I think the first one ended, but they were doing the second one that was coming up, and so it wasn't like an old property. It was it was still like one of the best series that was really popular. And and to not involve the writers is like really crazy. It's
it just does. I don't get it. It just. It's oh my god! It's so bad on so many levels.
I think that's like a lot of like Shyamalan's a little bit of an ego and a control freak, and I feel like a lot of the stuff he writes himself, and I feel like if he had like a co-writer to help him with some of his stuff, he could really shine more, because I think a lot of what his films lack is like a polish. Like he needs like more revisions on the scripts.
Right, that's the problem. That's the thing I go back and forth with on Shyamalan, because I do like some Shyamalan movies, but I thought Glass. I was underwhelmed by Glass.
I haven't seen Glass yet. I've been waiting. I just saw Split, and I actually liked Split. So I was like, okay,
Split's good.
Yeah,
Split's good. Unbreakable's good.
Great. Yeah.
Signs is good. I really like the Sixth Sense is a great movie. The Sixth Sense is really, really great. I saw that and I knew the twist, and I was still like, this is a great movie.
Yeah.
Glass is. It's kind of what happens here. Is it's too much all smushed together.
Yeah.
And so none of it is as good or developed as it possibly could wind up being.
Okay.
And that's ultimately what I think is probably the biggest problem with this movie, which, by the way, so just to catch you guys up if you haven't seen it yet, it's a 2010 American action-adventure fantasy film written, co-produced, and directed by Shyamalan, based on the first season of the Nickelodeon animated television series Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is about a kid who has it's a magical world, and it's sort of anime Asian influenced. There's a lot of basically these martial artists who can control the 4 elements.
Yes.
And
they do like a weird like chi dance,
right?
Like the kind of stuff that like a Japanese construction workers do in the morning, like calisthenics to like get their limbs limber.
It's definitely like the kind of workout that white girls are going to appropriate in like 5 more years. There's
going to be like an Avatar like hot yoga studio,
right? Fire Nation yoga studio.
Yes.
But there's. The television series was critically acclaimed, and I watched the movie, and I had never really watched the TV show. I'm not the biggest anime fan as far as cartoons go, and I think by the time that it was on, I really sort of shied away from watching cartoons made for kids more overtly as opposed to stuff that was like Adult Swim and
you were busy like
I was busy growing up and exactly and fucking while Family Guy's on in the background. That's classic classic stuff. But there's a level of disconnect that it appears happened between the actual making of the television show and the making of the movie, and it really comes down to Shyamalan's ego.
Yes.
That's the thing that I gathered the most just from sitting here on this couch this morning and watching this movie, and it's so... Here's the level of bad that this movie is. I will watch movies in the morning to prepare for this podcast sometimes, and it's the morning, so I drink coffee.
Yeah.
And if a movie puts me to sleep even after I've already had coffee, that's a bad movie.
Yeah.
That's what this movie did to me.
It was really bad. It was like I rewatched it for this, and I feel like the version on like available now streaming was not the version I saw in theaters.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I can prove that or not, but like I feel like there were some scenes that were taken out or re-edited, because I remember in the theater just like cringing. Like I felt like wait, that was a mistake. Like I think there were moments where like the boom went into the shot, and I think there was like,
oh man,
I remember like seeing all these things like they would cut mid sentence to like a new scene, and like and then this one felt like they cleaned it up a little bit, but I swear in the theaters it was worse.
Man, I can't imagine seeing. What was it like seeing in theaters? You made the choice to go see this in theaters.
I don't know.
That's
I feel
bold.
like the trailer was good. I was still in love, with Shyamalan. And like, I felt like, I like the genre, the fantasy thing. And I think, I don't know. I thought like, it's very straightforward, simple, like, story, fantasy story. But, I thought it'd be cool special effects. I thought like, maybe get to see some people freeze to death, like Mortal Kombat,
Right. So, and let me ask you this, because this is really the first blockbuster-esque movie that Shyamalan had directed.
And probably last.
And definitely, Glass is kind of, but only because it's ostensibly a superhero movie.
Yeah.
And not really even truly a superhero movie.
Yeah.
But that's the craziest, like, I was reading about, top to tail, this movie it's trying so hard, but it just can't convert, like, to give the viewer an emotional connection to what's going on here.
Yes.
It's just so hard to really... it's between the kids putting on a really bad performance.
Yeah, those kids are terrible
Their
actors.
kids are so bad.
I know they're like 8, and like, I'm not saying I would have been a better actor when I was 8, but like...
But there are better actors out there that are 8.
Yeah, like the girl from the piano. Like there's like tons of people who are way better than those kids were terrible.
They basically cast the lead to play Ong because he was a martial artist who shaved his head.
Yeah.
And they already were like, "Oh, you look like Avatar." And so they said, "Oh, okay, we're going to cast him as Ong the Avatar."
Yeah, like I feel like they should have been less concerned with making sure the gymnastics of Tai Chi looked genuine and like focus on like acting and like the story and stuff. Like
that's the thing.
They could have used CGI to like have his arms moving more rhythmically in post.
Right. And it's so crazy to me that like they cast the one really good performance in this movie, and I say that with a big fucking asterisk.
Yeah.
Is Dev Patel.
Yeah.
And because Dev Patel was making this, he was prepping for this movie while he was filming Slumdog Millionaire.
Yes.
So you're already in a movie that's like you're working with a really great director who's sort of who's in his prime. I mean, Danny Boyle, that was the movie that got him the Oscar, and so he's really working at the top of his game. And then I read that he got cast to be the villain, Prince Zuko.
Yeah.
And he would go and do his scenes for Slumdog Millionaire and then come back to his trailer and watch the cartoon and just get amped up.
Yeah.
And just ready to play the prince. And it shows that he's got like this intensity, but it just doesn't play with anybody else in the movie.
It's terrible. I think every single person is taking it so seriously, and like they deliver their lines so like every single thing is supposed to be like this epic moment, and it's like and the script doesn't justify that.
No, it absolutely doesn't.
Yeah,
I would like to. If you have any choice quotes from this movie. Because that's the thing. It's hard to. I watched it hours ago, and it's really hard to remember any importance of like all the lines. It just kind of goes in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
The whole time.
It's. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's definitely some scenes with like anything with the father of the fire tribe that like Ozai or whatever his name is. Like he just spoke so like evilly, it was like over the top evil. And
oh yeah. We've got there sorry, this is that Uncle Eero. There are reasons each of us are born. We have to find those reasons. What kind of line is that?
It's like not watching this movie. That's a good reason. That's terrible writing.
God, I wish I wouldn't read that. How about this? This is the princess of some sort. I don't remember who this princess
She's
is.
The ice princess. Forget her name.
Princess Yue.
Yes.
And she kills herself just for the fish.
Yeah.
The koi fish.
The koi fish who was also the moon spirit.
Right. Of course. Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
It's time we show the Fire Nation that we believe in our beliefs as much as they believe in theirs.
Which just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense. It's like, say the thing that you're trying to say in 5 words less than what you're saying it in now.
Yeah.
Cut down, edit, polish.
Yeah. And also like narratively that doesn't even make sense because like the fire people knew that the moon spirits existed. Like the whole thing just doesn't make any sense. And and it's just terrible writing. And
it's the crazy. I really loved. No, I hated watching this movie, but I loved reading about the arc of the movie afterwards. Have you looked into much of what happened, how this movie sort of came about, and what's happened since?
I don't know. I mean, I know that there was like another Avatar, and then now Netflix is trying to make a new one with like get the stink of the old one off of it.
Right.
But what else?
So basically, this really is the most. It's a very Shyamalan-y story.
Okay.
So
is there a twist?
There is a twist.
Okay, and a disappointment.
So he came into the production process because his daughter wanted to be Katara for Halloween.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so he was like, I've never heard of this Avatar television show. And then he started watching it and he was like, I would love to make this movie. And the 2 creators were both like, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I think you'd be a really good director for it. It should be fun. And we really like your work. And we think you're going to do a good job with our material. We think you're going to do a good job adapting it. And the thing is, there's so many roadblocks that came up along the way that they should have listened to. They had people express a lot of concerns over the casting.
Yeah,
which I remember being a big thing at the time. Do you have
like the whitewashing of the cast?
Yeah. Do you have any sort of an opinion on that? Because that was the thing that, like, if I cared more about the world of the show, I probably would care more about that. But because I don't, it's just like I don't know what these people are supposed to be like. I don't know what these characters are supposed to be, and I don't know. It's from one level. It's like it bugs me that Shyamalan, who's a Indian American, right?
Yeah.
He's like, okay, yeah. So you should know better that you're gonna get shit for all this.
Yeah. It was like I feel like the movie's just so bad that it's not like they were stealing great roles from Asian actors.
That's a good point.
It's like these are terrible roles. So like I don't think the Asian community can be like that upset about it. But
end of the day, Asians, like, you dodged a bullet by not being in this movie.
But I do understand like the world that it is supposed to be like very Eastern influenced and like even the spirituality of it and the artwork and stuff. So yes, they should be more Asian characters, but I think that's the least of the problems with the film. I mean, I can understand like the new one to do it, but they did have some diversity in the cast, but not the main actors. It was like all the extras.
It was
stuff.
That's the thing. I remember I was reading a part in this where they're like, what Shyamalan's like, well, we had an African American guy in there, and I watched it, and it's just a guy who's like smiling and nodding at one point. I'm like, you can't say that is diversity in casting.
Yeah.
Anyway, it really is beside the point, because the point is,
it's a good point. It's just there's so many other points.
It's just like questionable filmmaking all around, because he made no big budget movies before. And so he's working with visual effects guys, and he's doing these crazy fight scenes, and they're super choreographed. And later on, he would basically come to say, first of all, one of the co-creators of Avatar later said, this is The Legend of Korra. So that's the spin-off.
Yes, that's the sequel or whatever.
Right, exactly. So this is Brian Konietzko.
Yeah.
He wrote that his work on the two series, because somebody tried to get on him about skin color of characters on Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
He said the work on our two series speaks for itself, which obviously does not include the gross misinterpretations and misrepresentations of our work in Shyamalan's work.
Yes.
So the two guys went from being so excited that M. Night Shyamalan was making their movie into being like, what the fuck did you do, man?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how much of that is just PR. Like if the movie were a success, they probably wouldn't be trying to distance themselves as much. But
that's the thing. It's like I can understand why you'd want to distancing yourself publicly that's a line in the sand.
Yeah.
That's a stance.
Yeah. And if you watch the cartoons, there are a lot of like Asian characters in the cast. So it does make sense. Like the uncle is clearly Asian in the animated series, and then in the show, like he's like vaguely Asian, but it's like played by a white actor,
right?
And like so there's a lot of that. So yeah, I could definitely see that it's like whitewashed.
It's really rough. I mean, they both have said on record they would like to pretend that the film does not exist. They said that the project was given the go-ahead without their approval, and when they tried to provide input, it was ignored. And there's Shyamalan himself said that his style of storytelling is not suited to make a movie like this. So basically, this was him being like, yeah, I can do it. And then him being like, oh, I can't.
Yeah.
I failed on so many levels that I should never be allowed to make a movie like this ever again.
Yeah, and I think that shows. Like that's why it was such a big flop. It was like a really hot director who has like had some success, who like does really good small budget horror films, and then trying to tackle on something that, if it were a success, could have put him in a different ballpark, but then just failing miserably. And yeah,
because that's the thing. It's like this is why Shyamalan needs somebody else in his corner.
Yeah. So So the good thing about him, so the one thing I like about him and why I was such a big fan in the early on is that like I love his imagination, and he definitely like takes simple things and then adds elements to them that a lot of people wouldn't think to do. And I think that's why like great Shyamalan films are just so outside the box and original and like fun, and then like the twists and the style of it. So I love that, and I love like even when the movies failed, like like Lady in the Water and The Happening, like. Even when they're bad, like I loved the attempt. Like he's swinging for the fences, he's he's trying to do something big. Like who would do a movie about a hotel with like some kind of demon in the pool filters,
But yeah, I mean that's good, and it's nice to have that, and that's something else that I really appreciate about his filmmaking too. Yeah. I think that's also part of the big problem here is that he went with someone else's idea.
Yes.
And instead of doing something like what a good adaptation can do to a previous work that it's based on, and use that as sort of a springboard into building something that takes that original stuff, and you can create a different not a different world, but like you can add to it, and you can build on it, and make something that feels fresh but also honors the original work.
Yeah, and that was similar. So, like, Tim Burton did Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
And that was, like, kind of a big disaster, too.
Right.
And I think that was, like, he talked about how he hated the movie, and, like, he felt like the studio gave him no control, and they didn't let him do any of the Tim Burton stuff that he's known for. And so he just, like, hated showing up to work on that set.
Right.
And I think that's kind of a similar story here, where, like, I don't think it was the producers, like, stopping Shyamalan from doing what he wanted. It was more just, like, he's out of his element. Like he doesn't have the skill sets to do a big blockbuster film.
Right. Shyamalan's just out here. Shyamalan is like a hockey player who decides that he wants to try and play football instead.
Yeah.
Because like he knows how to tackle people, and that's an essential skill in both sports, but like that's not going to carry over.
Yeah.
You're going to fumble around. You're going to fail miserably. It's too much, but he's so confident.
Yeah, his confidence like is just so sad compared to like his skill sets.
Really did you see? Because the thing he specifically there's a point in time. This is extremely recent, by the way. April 16th, 2019.
Okay, yeah.
He gave a speech at the NYU Stern School of Business. And he said he regretted accepting the directing gigs on The Last Airbender and After Earth. So this is his specific quote. I did a couple huge big budget CGI movies. There's always been this inexorable pull to join the group, a constant seduction in the form of whatever else you want to tally, in the form of money or safety, ease, or not getting criticized. And I did these movies, and I rightfully got crushed because they rightfully said, you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in your own voice, and you don't believe in your values. And I felt really lost, and it just didn't work. And there's probably something Darwinian about all this.
That's and that's not true at all. Like it's like he's projecting, like he's blaming everyone else but himself,
right?
And like he's saying, like they didn't believe in me, and that's why it didn't work. It's like no, they did believe in you. They gave you the film, and they give you millions of dollars to do like this big budget thing.
It's like he second guessed himself, but he's not even accepting that he second guessed himself.
Yeah,
because
like,
he could have done the Shyamalan thing.
Yeah, he could have done like a really cool like this. I mean, Last Airbender, it's probably more of a family friendly kids show, but like there's some really like dark elements to there. There's like a lot of like dark magic and like people die, and it's like a war film, and so like he could have done some really cool like moments in there, even if it were like PG.
Oh yeah,
like I would love to see that like spin on it.
I mean, there's a scene. The closest it gets to that, and this is the part that I was like kind of all right with in the movie. There's a part where it's near the very end, and the Fire Nation guy played by Asif Manvi, who oh man, I love it. I love it when a comedian tries to take on a dramatic role for the most part, but this did not work.
I don't blame him. I feel like he had so little to work with. The script's terrible. Like, and I'm sure, like when he was acting, you could see on his face, he's like, I don't think I should be doing it this way.
Right.
And you could see like Shyamalan yelling at him from off the camera, just saying like, no, be serious, be like even more.
Exactly. Instead of letting him take the chance himself, it just is like, but there's the scene where he's at the very end of the movie, and he's on that bridge, and the waterbenders shoot their water at him and put him in that weird aquasphere, and he drowns.
Yeah, he drowns. He
drowns, and then he dies. Yeah, and it just shows a dead body on a bridge.
Yeah.
And my God, I love that part because it's like, oh, you're going to show death finally. And it's not going to be a death that like, her hair changed colors.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's like, oh no, her hair went into the fish, the moon spirit.
The moon spirit. Because we killed a moon spirit. And that's why they can't do the thing. I don't. It's one, man.
It was so confusing because there's like this world of the spirits, and then like they don't really do anything, and then like you can kill them super easily, and then like when you do, the moon turns red. But like, what does that mean? I don't know what the red moon means.
I mean, they said you can't bend water, but that didn't really change anything.
Yeah, no, they still drowned the guy. It was just, it was weird.
It's a really. I can't imagine. I really have no idea what M. Night Shyamalan was thinking when he decided to make this. It's just because he's already. How does a man have this much confidence after getting beaten down from the making of The Happening and Lady in the Water?
Yeah, I think I think he was trying to emulate like his peers, you know. So he's like, it's his first like big action blockbuster, and he was trying to treat it like, you know, a Spielberg film, or even more of like just like a war film where like everyone's so serious, and like they have a lot of like turns to look like they're looking over their shoulder, like everyone's posing in like every scene.
True.
But it's in slow motion, and the poses don't mean anything because it's like so fake.
Oh, that's one of the parts that got me. I hated so much about this movie was all the use of the slow motion and the weird zooms.
Yes, yeah.
It bugged the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because it's clear that it's somebody who is trying to, I guess this is the only part that Shyamalan was trying to innovate and do something new, where it felt like this is a choice that I don't see in action movies, the thing where it's like, we're going to zoom in on one person and then we're going to zoom back out. It felt kind of like a music video-y kind of move.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't work. Because it doesn't look as cool as he thought it did in the context of those fight scenes.
Yeah, it was almost like he fired a cinematographer like halfway through the movie or something. Because like in theory, the shots I could see on the storyboards would have looked really cool, and then, like in the execution, it like didn't work out at all. And so there was a lot of these, like really weird, like supposedly epic poses and stuff. But the delivery was so like fake, over the top. You know,
it just blows my mind that this movie got made.
Like, I wonder what the set was like. Was there a lot of yelling? Was there like was he like, did he, I bet at one point he shouted like, everyone's trying to sabotage me. I feel like that was something that was said on the set.
I feel like he thinks people are against him all the time.
Yeah, I feel like I got that vibe just from watching it. Because it's like, if you had a crew of like 1,000 people, you think one person would be like, hey, why don't we do like this better? You know,
is there a director that you think could have done this movie better?
I mean, a lot. I mean, we'll see with the Netflix one. They're doing it like the animated series. It has a lot of comedy in it, and like it's really rich characters. It's a rich world. Like, I think you could definitely do it really well.
Man, there's comedy in the TV. There's no comedy in this movie.
Yeah, there's not at all.
The only comedy in this movie, I don't even want to laugh at this movie. It's just bad.
Yeah. Like in the series, like the main character Avatar, like he is really funny, he's silly, he's like goofy, he's clumsy, he like falls over a lot, and in this one he had none of that. He was just like kind of like whiny and then like serious all of a sudden,
right?
And then like in the other one, like the uncle character, he's like really like kind of comedic and silly and like trying to get his evil son or even evil nephew to lighten up,
right?
And in this one, he's just like kind of very boring and straight-laced, and he has like all these powers, but he doesn't use it, and he like wants to step in, but he doesn't step in, and like he doesn't do anything, and like what's the point of having that character if he's not going to like intervene at all?
Yeah, I guess it's just so sad. It's so sad that this movie, I mean, I'm trying to look up because I know it won a ton of bad movie awards,
like Razzies. Or
it won the Razzies. It swept at the Razzies. It did very well. It won Worst Picture, Worst Director, Worst Screenplay, Worst Supporting Actor for Jackson Rathbone.
Oh wow, yeah.
who played he won it for a double role. He won it for his role in Twilight and for him playing Sokka in this.
Yeah, the brother, yeah.
And then it was also nominated for Worst Screen Couple for the entire cast.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. They had no chemistry. Like the main girl was like really like whiny and sad the whole time, and like she's supposed to be like this brave character that like is like the wise voice who like tells people what they should be doing, and she gives guidance to Avatar, and in this one she didn't do any of that. She was just like, what are you doing, don't do it, and like whining the whole time.
Right. It's just nobody. It's hard to do a movie that's like a fantasy movie where there's big time obvious heroes and you can't root for anybody.
Yeah, I didn't care about any of them. Like I wanted like the main character, like, oh, okay, he's supposed to be like this big amazing like guru that like saves the planet.
Well, it's almost like Shyamalan's trying to write the kinds of characters that he normally writes, which are sort of hard to like characters.
Yeah.
He writes a lot of not necessarily anti-heroes, but people that are difficult to like, and you can't do that in a kids movie like this.
Yeah.
You have to make it, because it's for kids, so you have to make things obvious.
Yeah. Like obvious, but still like believable and with some sort of purpose.
It's just this movie. This is an exhausting movie to think about.
It was so bad. Yeah,
I can't imagine the just like how sad you must have been seeing that movie. Did you think about walking out when you were in theaters?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I stayed the whole time. I rarely walk out of movies. I have a couple. I think like Dreamcatcher was one I totally had to leave. It was so bad.
Man, Dreamcatcher's bad. Yeah, it's so really awful. Bad.
And then there's a couple recently I haven't, like Wine Country, and like I didn't finish it. It was just so mad. And yeah,
it's bad.
But with this one, I think I stuck it through. But like I said, it was just like, yeah, I think the one in theaters was like poorly edited, like more so than it is now.
I wonder if somebody even saw how bad that movie was and fucked around with it in the projection booth.
Yeah,
just to maybe be like, maybe we can do some sort of a director's cut version of it.
That'd be amazing if like the guy at Pacific Cinemas, like the high school like projectionist in the booth, is like, I'm gonna save this film, and he's like cutting frames together and like.
Well, that's how I imagine. I mean, people do that. Try and talk about doing that stuff. I remember when Last Jedi was out and everybody was freaking out about. They were like, "Oh, this movie's bad," and so they're like, "We're gonna make our own edit of this movie."
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Just let the thing be the thing. Let it exist and be what it is on its own merit or lack of merit. And I don't.
Not for this one.
Not for this one. This one you can change it around. Here's the best way to edit this movie is to take all of the copies of it that still exist on hard reels and burn them. Or bury them like the E.T. Atari game. Just bury them in a landfill.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Like, I don't want to see like a remastered version where like all of the water is walkie-talkies now.
Right. Like, I don't want to see that at all.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
I don't want to see this. I don't want to see anything to do with this movie ever again.
Yeah, it's really bad. He said such an interesting, because he started so high and then he like. I think the thing is that he did like every 2 years he did a movie, and I feel like if he did every 3 years he would have been more successful, or if he had like a co-writer. It was just, there's something, everything about his scripts, there's like they start off really strong. It's a really original concept. They have some really cool moments. There's some good twists, and like plot wise it's good, but then like the character development's always lacking, and and there's just like always something off of it, or like especially towards the end, like the 2/3 in is like where it's like, oh no, like why'd you make that choice?
It's like, have you ever heard Patrice O'Neal's bit about Hanna-Barbera cartoons?
I think so.
Where he's the basic gist, and definitely I'm not going to recreate the bit because I don't remember the actual beats of it enough to not butcher it. Yeah. But the basic premise is if you're gonna do art, you really need to have somebody who's gonna like check you every once in a while. And this might not even be for artistic sake. It might just be like sort of in general. You need friends who are gonna check you.
Yeah.
He's like, look at Hannah Barbara, and they got Hannah was probably doing great ideas, and then all of a sudden you need somebody like Barbara to smack the shit out of you when you do something wrong and you fuck up an idea.
That's good. Yeah.
But that's what he needs.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan needs somebody who will call him out on his shit.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is Justin here is available to you.
Yeah, I would love to work with him. I could just be like, no, let's not do that. Like I feel like I want to help him. I want him to do good. I want him to succeed. I think he's like 80% there. He just needs a little like editing, and he needs some polish, and just so sad. Like The Happening, I watched Bird Box recently, and that's basically The Happening. It's like some kind of nature mysterious thing starts having people kill themselves, which is like exactly
that's what The Happening is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so but the Bird Box was way more polished and more successful, and like, I don't know, you cared more about the characters, and The Happening was just like Mark Wahlberg yelling at a tree.
Right. And Betty Buckley being weird.
Yeah.
And unrealistic. Yeah, it's bad. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, I am glad I got to talk to you.
Yeah.
I am very upset that this is the movie that we chose to talk about.
You
but it's okay. I'm crying right now. That's how much I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
So, listen, don't watch this movie. Don't subject yourself to it. If you feel like you should, it's on Amazon Prime. But don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
You deserve better. And hey, thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for having me.
Where can the listeners find you and your work?
Yeah. My website, justinmatson.com. Everything's on there.
Awesome. And you got an album out for pre-order now.
Yes, it's available now. Justin Matson, Fatter Than You Think. It's in all the stores. Hopefully iTunes, if it still exists.
It's very soon.
Yeah.
And when's it getting released?
July 12th is the official release date.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, pre-order that, and it's going to be a fun time listening to it. Justin's super funny. You're going to dig his album. If you like my stuff, you can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for show dates. And Justin and I, if you are in Scotland or anywhere else in the UK, Justin and I are both going to be at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in the entire month of August, pretty much.
Yeah.
So come check our shows out. If you're out there, it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, it'll be super fun. I can't wait.
Yay. And if you've seen Avatar, or just The Last Airbender, sorry, they had to get rid of Avatar to separate it. If you've seen The Last Airbender, and just come give one of us a hug, and we understand.
Yeah, write your apologies and grief in the comments below.
This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.